Good morning, beautiful people. I'm so happy to be joining you this morning virtually. I'm so excited to tell you a few things that have been going on with me this last few months. As you know, I'm the volunteer coordinator here at the church, also sing with Celebration. I've not been singing the last few months, but I'm so looking forward to the time that I can get back up there and sing for you in some capacity. I don't know how that's going to look yet, but I don't have to know everything. I'm really excited about the school supply drive that we're sponsoring with Families in Transition and Round Rock ISD. Desiree Lee is the administrator there who is helping coordinate that effort for them, and we have received some wonderful donations. If you've already donated, thank you so much, but there's still so much to be done. So thank you in advance.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Desiree Veramontes Lee, and I am the coordinator for the Round Rock Independent School District's Families in Transition program, commonly known as FIT. I just wanted to take a moment out of my day to give you guys a heartfelt thank you from me and the families that I serve. Currently in the district homeless program, we have between 800 and 1,000 students every year for homeless, and then we have about 200 to 300 students in our foster care programs. This year is a little bit different, as we all have experienced with the current COVID pandemic. I'm only seeing a huge increase of need in families and students that we need to help out. And I have to say that your contribution of school supplies and backpacks only make the start of the school year that much easier for the students that we serve.
Again, the school supply drive lasts through August the 10th, so you have plenty of time still to get your donations in. And thank you also. Thank you again if you've already donated. So a couple of things that have been going on with me. I've been developing an app. It's a mindfulness app. I can't wait to tell you more about it. So when the time comes, you guys, it's coming. Carter, my 5-year-old, he is just being all that there is to be when you are 5, and sometimes I want to join him. But he is just amazing, and we're getting ready for school, and however that's going to look, whatever that's going to look like. Lauren is doing so well. I'm so excited for her and happy for all the things that are coming her way. And Steve is just, as ever, being the creative genius that he is, and he's running around doing whatever it is that he does. But he does it very well, so I have no complaints. We're all very happy and healthy, and I hope that you are as well. You guys take care of yourself. I love you. School supply. School supplies. School supplies. School supplies. Okay.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Love is before me. Love is behind me. Love is to the left of me. Love is to the right of me. Love is above me. Love is below me. Love is within me. Love is all around me. I am love. I am love. I am love. I am love. Peace is before me. Peace is behind within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
So grateful.
I'm so grateful.
So grateful.
Good morning and welcome to Unity Church of the Hills. We got a great start with that beautiful song, Thank You Celebration. I am so grateful for this day and so glad that you have joined us from parts unknown. So if we don't know where you're tuning in from, let us know. There on the chat bar on whatever version of this service you're listening from. And of course, thank you for your continued support of Unity Church of the Hills. Your gifts, your tithes, your offerings are warmly welcomed. And just know that at this time, they are being put to good use to support this message getting out to the world in so many wonderful and life-affirming ways. We're going to continue to do that and find even more ways for our community to connect. So thank you again for your generous contributions. We so appreciate it. And of course, I want to give a shout out to our fence crew. Our wonderful facilities manager, Des, pulled a 6-person team together. So I want to thank Karen and Paul Memrick, Jack Frick and Kelly Logue, along with Des and myself. Last Wednesday, we went out and did this cleanup along our east fence line. I don't think that had been done since we moved into this property. And I know for a fact that our neighbors to the east are now very, very happy. So thank you, team. You did a great job. There was a lot of blood, sweat, no tears, but a lot of sweat. And you definitely got the most out of your minister last Wednesday. That was great. So thank you. And in a moment, you're going to see the vision show up on your screen, and we're going to affirm that out loud together. This is an opportunity to affirm the truth of who we are called to be in the world. So let's say this together. We are an ever-expanding community of love and acceptance where lives are transformed. What a beautiful thing. And of course, if you have joined us for the first time today, I am so delighted. Let us know how you found us. But wherever you are on the path of life, your faith path, know that we will meet you there. And know that we, of course, celebrate unity as a positive path for spiritual living that honors all paths to God. So just know wherever you are on that spiritual path, we will meet you there and warmly welcome you from our hearts. And of course, if you would like more support from our prayer chaplains or anybody who could give you more information, all you need to do is type connect right there in the screen, and somebody will reach out to you. And now I invite you to just gently go within as we connect in with our opening prayer this morning. And so as I go within, I know that right where we are, all of us, wherever we are watching, listening, participating in this service, that we are connected to that living, breathing Spirit that is the Spirit of a loving God. I absolutely know that that is at the very breath that we take, that our connection is so right there, right now. And it is in that place of connection that I know we are this morning, as one spiritual community connecting across the miles, across the airwaves, and feeling and absolutely appreciating that loving spiritual connection that we have with each other. And let us just know that absolutely in our prayers every day that we see us gathering once again together right here in this house of worship, that we come together to celebrate the joy, the gifts, the love, the laughter of spiritual community. I hold that in my prayer now every day. And so I know that right where you are, you feel and know a sense of gratitude for the goodness of your life, for those small things and big things that show up for you to be about appreciating and to be grateful. And so I give thanks for all these words of truth and realization now, knowing that in the eyes and mind of God that these are already so, that they have always been so. They have always been the wish of a loving God, a loving Spirit, to be true for each one of us. And so I release these words to that Christ nature within, that Spirit that listens to every word and acts upon them in that perfect creation. It is in that Christ nature that I release these words right now, knowing it is already so. And so I let it be, and so it is. Amen.
All right, good morning. We are so grateful for all of our praying chaplains. To receive one-on-one prayer following today's service, please call 512-814-5365. Leave a message with your name, phone number, and request, and a chaplain will call you back. It's time to spotlight our August Volunteers of the Month, Karen and Paul Memrick. Let's hear what they have to say about volunteering.
I've searched for many religions, and unity just seemed to fit. I really like how they're very spiritual and very engaging. So I just like the community. And then we raised our kids through the church. And recently, in the last 5 years, we really stepped up when the Labyrinth was created 5 years ago. And I've been helping with landscaping and maintenance. And then in hospitality, helping with scheduling, working with about 25 people in hospitality, and hoping that someday we'll get back to that. So we just really enjoy being present, especially right now with COVID going on. I just feel like it's important to visit the church at least once a week to see what kind of needs they have, to continue to do the outdoor work of landscaping, helping Des with her maintenance projects, because all kinds of stuff come up on a 20-year-old church. So, Paul's been there to help with the kitchen sinks. And what else have you been doing lately?
Oh, I've been helping Des out quite a bit. We did a few months ago, we did the lighting. We replaced some of the lights, done some of the fixing on the irrigation, watering, mowing, and trimming, and just general upkeep that still needs to be done.
Yep.
On a daily basis here. So, and I appreciate being with Karen and helping her out and trying to just make things run and operate. It's just a pleasure to be able to to contribute to the church.
Yes, and keep its sustainability, and just to have people come back and be a part of such a beautiful and wonderful environment.
Huge thank you to Paul and Karen for your loving hearts and your dedicated service. You two are absolutely amazing. We love having you here. Thank you. At 1 p.m. today, join our chaplains on a Zoom for a virtual gratitude circle. Your presence will be the icing on our gratitude cake as we join together in speaking our blessings out loud. Find the Zoom link on our website, on the Facebook events page, or on our app. I'm fairly certain that there's a fair amount of uncertainty going on. I mean, what day of the week is it? Tuesday, Monday, Thursday? One thing we are certain about is that a conscious conversation on the topic of uncertainty would be helpful. Join Joni Lorraine, John Fleming, and Robin Llewellyn on Thursday, April 120th. On August the 6th at 7 p.m. as they lead us through uncertainty around our uncertainty so that we can certainly find some peace. Our school supply drive benefiting Round Rock ISD's Families in Transition continues. The drive continues through August the 10th, and next weekend is tax-free weekend, so be sure to take advantage of the savings while helping out homeless teens in the Round Rock ISD. Supplies need to be dropped off or delivered to UCO no later than next Monday, August the 10th. Take a journey through history to explore the roots of unity. Learn about the impressive entourage of the mystics that preceded and shaped what would become the New Thought movement. Beginning on Tuesday, August 18th, Reverend Mary Grace Sorensen will be offering the history of New Thought and unity via Zoom. This class can be taken for credit, and we are offering 2 different price options. Learn more and register at unityhills.org.
Thank you for coming to my tea party. Pass me your cup and I'll pour you some tea. Mix in your sugar, 1 lump or 2. Take a sip, then try a treat. It's all for you.
That was cute. That's right, ladies. It's tea time. On August 22nd at 2 p.m., we want to reconnect because we really miss you. We're not able to meet in person, but we can still meet on Zoom. You'll be provided with the items you need to create your very own tea party. There is no charge, but we do need sponsorships to help with the expenses. There will be a fashion show, door prizes, and most importantly, connection with all of you. Just go to unityhills.org and learn more to register. A few more announcements. We got busy, y'all. All right, We Wisdom's fall registration is still open for 2, 3, and 4 half-day programs. Using a blend of both Montessori and traditional child development approaches, We Wisdom seeks to meet each child's needs in a loving, supportive, spiritual environment. Please contact Director Carrie Monk at carrie.monk@unityhills.org if you are interested in enrolling, taking a tour, or if you have any questions. The nominating team is still in process of identifying individuals to serve on our Board of Trustees. If you or someone you know is actively involved in UCO, seeks to live unity principles, and possesses the skills to serve on our board, please consider putting forth your or their name. You have until August the 21st, to submit candidate recommendations, and you can find the online submission form at unityhills.org. All right. Now, I invite you to relax as we prepare for meditation, joined by Tammy Lorraine.
I invite you to now settle into a posture of greater relaxation and mindful attention. Relax your hands in your laps, perhaps your palms facing up. Straighten your spine and drop your shoulders. Close your outer eyes, signaling to your body that it is time to let go and relax, to trust. Allow your breath to be soft and gentle, in and out. Easy, effortless breath. Breathing in, letting go. Now imagine that you are surrounded by an expansive ball of light. You are immersed in it. You are part of it. And as you allow the warmth and glow of this light to fill you, you notice that it is actually made up of billions of individual tiny threads of light, woven and mingled together, such that you can't tell where one begins and the other ends. Each unique yet so interconnected that each is essential to the whole. This is the human family. Stripped of our beliefs and our perceptions, in our pure essence, we are this one interwoven ball of light. And around it, through it, beyond it, and within it is God. In every fiber, every particle, in the space and the no space, in the form and the formless, is God, is love. Everything held together in this love. Allow this truth to penetrate beyond thought, deep into the essence of your being, into the core of who you are, so that it informs your appreciation of life, of yourself as an expression of life. In deep reverence and awe as you rest in the silence. Nothing but God here. Nothing but light here. Nothing but love here. One human family. Allow yourself, as you bring yourself back into this time and space, to be moved by this truth and move through your day with wonder and awe. And when you are ready, open your beautiful eyes.
Your ladder will be greater than your past, and you will be blessed more than you could ask. Despite all that has been done, the best is yet to come, and your ladder will be greater. 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 Your ladder will be greater than your past.
Your ladder will be greater than your past.
And you'll be blessed.
And you will be blessed.
More than you can ask.
More than you could ask.
Despite all that's been done.
All that has been done.
Oh, your best is
The
yet.
best is yet to come.
Oh, yes.
And your ladder will be greater. Your ladder will be greater. Your ladder will be greater than your past. All things are possible. 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 All is yet to come. The best is yet to come. Oh, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. Oh, the best is yet to come. Our best is yet to come. Our best is yet to come. Oh, our best is yet to come. Let's live in gratitude. Let's live in gratitude. Gratitude brings out the best. Let's live in gratitude. Let's live in gratitude. Gratitude brings out the best. All things are possible. 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 All things are possible. 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 And your ladder will be greater. Gratitude will give you greater. Your ladder will be greater than your past.
Well, do I get an amen, church? That was awesome song. Holy cow. I can hear you all the way across the airwaves. Beautiful music today. Well, my talk title today is Gratitude. If you haven't picked up on the theme yet, it's an opening for joy. I loved this from the Benedictine monk, Brother David Steindl-Rast, who said that it is not joy that makes us grateful. Rather, it is gratitude that makes us joyful. I'll read that again. It's not joy that makes us grateful. It's gratitude that makes us joyful. See, I think gratitude is a natural step on the spiritual development path. And it in fact, alone can lead us to an amazing amount of joy. I hope you're feeling that already. You know, in this time, I've been here a month as of yesterday, and you know, it's not the easiest time. It went like this. I'm already used to the weather, so you won't even hear me complain about the heat so much. But you know what? I am praying, as I mentioned in my opening prayer, that we can all meet again. I would just be delighted if we could fill this house before our 25th anniversary. So keep that in your prayers too, because I know it's a tough time. You know, the COVID virus, social unrest, it's a tough time to see or appreciate gratitude. Yet, if you study the greatest spiritual teachers of all time, what you will hear is, yes, we can do this. We've done it before, we're going to do it again. And on that note, my mentor and author of This Life is Joy, I'm sure you have this book in your bookstore, Limitation, Alienation, Impoverishment, Violence, and Heartlessness. How I wish it weren't so. Yet there have been mystics and enlightened ones who have been very familiar with the human condition and yet have declared great news about life. Amongst these is the biblical quote from Psalm 118, verse 24. This is the day the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Dr. Roger would go on to talk about how that verse could be our salute to every morning. I know I've heard him say that many times over the years, and I'm finding myself saying that when I wake up in the morning. It's like another day to make a difference in the world. How am I going to do that today? So there are so many things that are beckoning us to be grateful. And one of them, of course, is the opportunity to live another day, to make another difference. My prayer partner in ministerial school back in 1997, my first prayer partner was a woman by the name of Rhonda Britton. Some of you may have heard of her before, but let me tell you a little bit about who she is and what I learned from her before her books came out. At 14 years old, she witnessed her father kill her mother and then commit suicide right in front of her. As you can imagine, how that set in motion for her the next 2 decades of addiction and hopelessness and blame and shame and all those kind of things. And she continued to look for a way out from this horrific experience. But it wasn't until she found a seat way in the back at Agape out in California, and she listened every Sunday with her head in her hands to Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith speak, and she was hearing words that resonated. And she realized that there's nothing that can't be healed. Nothing is impossible in the heart and mind of God to overcome. That's why I so love that last song. The struggle's real, but we will overcome. I know we will. You know, after she found Agape and New Thought, she was drawn into the ministry, and that's how I met her. But, you know, her ministry turned out to be a little bit different. She wrote a best-selling book called Fearless Living, and she's been a guest on Oprah, and she had her own television show for a while, assisting people in transforming their life. But one time when my family was visiting California, we stayed with her at her home in Sherman Oaks. And I just remember we had a conversation about how did you get from there to there? And she said it was gratitude. It was the practice of gratitude. So we would walk around Sherman Oaks, and she would share some of this with me. And she said, you know, at first, what I did is I called on myself to write 25 things I was grateful for every day. There's a lot of gratitude practices out there, so if you're doing one, keep doing it. If you need one to do, this isn't a bad one. But she wrote down 25 things she was grateful for every day. And she said, you know, when I first started, it had to be so simple because she said my mind was blank. What do I have to be grateful for? And then her memories would come up. But she said she started by being grateful that she could bend over and tie her shoe. And she went on to all sorts of things. My clothes fit. I have food. I have shelter. You know, all those different kinds of things. And, of course, what she did is transformed her life. Now she has Fearless Living Coaching Institute. She helps people transform from horrific events to lives that, are led from that place of gratitude and joy. I know it has worked for her, so if you're looking for a tool, there's one to start with. You can get a journal and write down what you're grateful for and start where you start. Doesn't have to be 25, but boy, if you can work to that, it will transform your life. So in today's message, what I'd like to offer is because I just talked to Dr. Roger Friday, so he's influenced me already. And that is I've picked an acronym because, he's the dean of the acronymic university. So I picked the acronym of JOY today. And how this is going to play out is gratitude is the journey of abundance. It is the opening to awe. And gratitude is what keeps us young. I'm going to start with gratitude as a journey of abundance. Melody Beatty said, gratitude turns what we have into enough. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. I want to tell a story because I'm pretty sure my son won't be watching this service, but I'm going to tell a story on him. One day we were driving to the local grocery store, and he was lamenting about how he wasn't able to get the latest video game, whatever it was. My two sons would always be wanting the next video game or video game system or whatever it was. So I said, well, here's what I want to say about that, Tyler. And he goes, oh my God, is this lesson number 42? And what you need to know about Tyler is he's a quick wit. I don't know where he got that from, but we banter quite often. And I said, yes, it's lesson number 42. And what I said is, we will never be happy if all we focus on is what we don't have. It's more important to be grateful for what we do have. And you know what? I'm pretty certain I'm going to hear Tyler giving lesson number 42 to my grandson, Braden, one of these days. He's only 5, but I bet it'll come. I don't know what the latest is for 5-year-olds, but when he doesn't have enough of that, I'm sure lesson 42 is going to come out. The other thing I would say is gratitude isn't just about money. Money is just a vehicle. And it's a very important vehicle, and we all need it. The church needs it. We need it personally, that sort of thing. But there is so much more to the world of abundance. It's our friends, it's our family, it's all of the things that go into making life what it is. I love what Eric Butterworth said in Spiritual Economics. He shares this story about an old saying that a donkey may carry a heavy load of precious sandalwood on its back and never know its preciousness. All the donkey knows is its weight. So you may go through the feeling, through life, feeling only the weight of the circumstances and never be able to feel the precious nature of life. I think practicing gratitude daily reminds us of the preciousness of life. I only have, I have plenty, but this is the regret that I've been thinking about lately, is my parents have both made their transition at quite an old age. My father lived to be 96, my mother was 98, but I would have loved to have had them alive right now, although they'd be much older, to talk to them about what it was like to live through the pandemic of 1918. See, my parents were both alive then. They were both alive in 1918, and they both lived very long lives. There's a lot of hope in that. I would have loved to have talked to my dad. I think he was 4. My mother was conceived during that epidemic or pandemic. So, a lot of life keeps happening. We have to remember that. We are going to overcome. Tony Robbins said, when you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. I remember when I first ran into New Thought, I stumbled into it really. I wasn't looking for it, but I started to practice it. And one of the things I practiced was a daily prayer for a job where I felt appreciated and made better money. And because the firm I worked for as an architect, I didn't feel very appreciated for what I was doing, and I just didn't feel like I was getting paid enough. So I would do these prayers, and I would go to class and tell people what I was praying for and all this, and all of a sudden, I am promoted as a vice president of this architectural firm, and I was given the biggest bonus for the year that I had ever received. Now, here was the shocking part. I knew prayer would work, but I had no idea that all of that would come to pass in the same firm I was working for. I had all these resentments and regrets and all this stuff that was going on about my boss and this company and all those sort of things. Well, during the process of praying and feeling grateful for this coming to fruition, I released all that and I allowed that abundance to come forward. You know, Stephen Richards, author, said this. He said, gratitude opens our eyes to the limitless potential of the universe, while dissatisfaction closes our eyes to it. It was the dissatisfaction that had closed myself down to the possibilities of a greater abundance in my life. So, I believe, and most prayer teachers I have been engaged with say that every prayer should have a good dose of gratitude. That I'm grateful for my life, I'm grateful for this prayer, I'm grateful for the universe unfolding in wondrous ways. The second area I want to look at is the opening, the O in joy, which is gratitude is the opening to awe. I love that word awe. You know, awe and wonder kind of go together, and this is what English author G.K. Chesterton said. He says, I would maintain that thanks are the highest form of thought and that gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder. Happiness doubled by wonder. I just loved that. You know, in the inner child work that I have done, both as a participant and as a facilitator, what I have witnessed is through the process of forgiveness that I talked about last week and the process of gratitude that I'm talking about this week, what I watched is people regain their sense of awe, their sense of joy. And, you know, there was a renewed sense of pausing and noticing your friends. You know, what's on your walk? You know, are you just paying attention to your Fitbit, making sure you get in a certain amount of exercise? Or are you enjoying the natural beauty that surrounds you? Another quote from Dr. Roger in his book, This Life is Joy. What if there is a larger truth about life, beyond the drama that repeats itself over and over at the surface level of our experience? Because as children, we innately commune with something far more about life. In the early stages of life, there is more obvious access to the flow of an expansive vibrancy and joy. I believe we gave up something precious and vital back then, for whatever reason. But, he goes, I also know we can reclaim it. I was on staff for the Inner Child Journey that trained Dr. Roger to lead and facilitate the Inner Child Journey when he brought it back to Mile High Church. Then, of course, when he hired me, he knew I could facilitate it. So we've had this connection for quite a while, and I so believe in it. It is about reclaiming that larger truth about life and realizing that when we do our exercise, it's not just about the steps we get in or the miles or all of that. It's about what's going on with the beauty of the neighborhood. I have been making it a point because I had declared this. I don't know how many years ago I said it the first time, is someday I want to spend some time in Austin, Texas. I want to get to know the hill country, and I had no idea what I was setting in motion back then. So I'm sorry, but I did it. It's my fault. But when I do my weekly walks, I like to, see what's there. I'm already looking forward to my walk tomorrow because I love live oaks and the amazing flora and fauna of this part of the world. It's way different than Colorado. It's probably because you don't get those 4 feet snows, which I'm okay. I don't miss those, by the way. Deepak Chopra said this: gratitude opens the door to the power, the wisdom, the creativity of the universe, and we open that through our gratitude. We do so much more when we are able to see the amazing awe in life's power, and gratitude is the door we walk through. I've had the opportunity, besides taking down the shrubbery on the east property line, to see our UCOH garden. And Kelly shared with me quite a bit about the garden, so did Des. But I tell you, it is beautiful. If you haven't stopped by to see it, I know you can volunteer to to dig and get your hands dirty and all that kind of stuff and be on the campus along with Karen and Paul. But it's beautiful. What a great thing to do, to see the power of the seeds of creation. And lastly, I want to talk about the why and joy, and that is gratitude keeps us young at heart. Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold an enormous part of gratitude. I told you recently that I visit Disney parks, and that feels like another lifetime ago, even though it was just in January. But one of the things I've always loved to do, because I've been to the Disney parks a lot, I used to go a couple times a year. Exactly. Lightning just thunderstruck here. But I love to pause and just be grateful for what Walt Disney created in the world. He never saw anything more than Disneyland. All the other parks have been created from his vision. But I want to do a little self-disclosure. One of the ways that I feel gratitude every day when I come into the office here, I've been doing this for 2 decades. So whenever I've been going into the office or driving to church on Sundays, my playlist starts with the songs that are the soundtracks from the rides at Disneyland. It starts with those, and then it gets to, my favorite songs from church. And that's what gets me turned on into being fully immersed in gratitude. But I love that it starts with all the wonderful songs from Disney. It keeps me young at heart. So, on a spiritual note, the daily prayers of gratitude, of course, for me, for the longest time, stemmed from being right there on the precipice of seeing what it was going to be like to transition from my cancer. I was pretty close. There were several times. But what I want to invite you to do is don't wait for those. You can decide. You can make the choice to move into an appreciation right now. I love this from Albert Einstein. He said there's only 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. I think that's the eyes of a child. One of my favorite stories recently is our 3-year-old granddaughter, Addie, who shows her gratitude by saying to my wife, Tina, "Grammy, you make me happy." And it's just so heart-endearing to hear her say that. It brings tears to our eyes, but she is in such awe of life and that miracles happen every day. The thing I want to close with is these words from Brené Brown. She says, men and women who have the capacity to lean fully into joy share one variable in common. They practice gratitude. Gratitude is a vulnerability, and there has been physiological research to it, that when we are vulnerable and are experiencing gratitude, a quiver happens, a quiver in our body. And what she says is in those deeply joyful moments, when I feel the quiver, I literally say, I am so grateful. I am so grateful for. And she starts her list of gratitude, saying it over and over again. So let those 4 words change your life. I'm so grateful for. And remember, gratitude is the opening to joy, the journey of abundance, and it is an opening to awe and keeps us young at heart. Let us pray. As I did last week before I move into a blessing prayer for all of us, I invite us to keep in mind our children, our youth, our angels and teachers, and take them into your heart. Because I know you know this blessing by heart. So say it with me. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ that you are. Thank you, kids, teachers. We love you. Now let us just go within and feel that divine essence and presence of the living, loving Spirit that is all around us through all of creation and lives and breathes through each one of us, that Christ nature that we are, that we have always been. I know it is that sense and that presence that is the source of our appreciation right in this moment. So I know whatever may have occurred for you in the past is already there for healing through this sense of gratitude for your life right now. I know that all the lessons we have learned, all the space that we have created to be who we are in this moment is an absolute blessing. I give thanks for this spiritual community, knowing that we are together, that we are one community. Our hearts beat as one as we move into that place of perfect healing from any virus, from any unrest, that we are absolutely blessed in and of this moment. And for all of this and so much more, I give thanks. For I know in the heart, the mind, the spirit of this amazing Christ nature that we are blessed right in this moment. And so I give thanks for this, knowing that it is already so. And so I merely release these words, knowing that it is the Christ nature that receives them, acts upon them, and makes them so right in this very moment. So I give thanks, knowing it is done. And so I let it be, and so it is. Amen. As this time in our service is when we get to support our spiritual community and practice that law of circulation. You know, there are so many ways to give. They're coming up on your screen right now, whether it's through the app, through your text to give, online, or by mail. And just know that we are so grateful for your generosity, and know that it will return to you tenfold. Thank you, thank you, thank you for supporting UCO right now. So let us speak our offering affirmation together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.
If you want more happy, then your heart will hold. If you want to stand taller, if the truth were told, take whatever you have and give it away. If you want less lonely and a lot more fun and deep satisfaction when the day is done, throw your heart wide open and give it away.
Well, I was working in the garden when I heard God say, hey, look around you, it's a beautiful day. You've got all you need and so much more. Today, this day, it is just right. Be kind to yourself and live in God's light. I learned it's true what my mama used to say. Nothing's quite as good until you give it away. If you want more happy, then your heart will hold. If you want to stand taller, if the truth were told, take whatever you have and give it away. If you want less lonely and a lot more fun and deep satisfaction when the day is done, throw your heart wide open and give it away. There's been a lot of water go over the dam since the day I decided just who I am. So I hope you'll hear these words I have to say.
are two kinds of folks, the takers and givers. There's gripers and complainers and big-hearted livers. It depends on how we choose to spend our days. Well, we can't hoard up all we've got or give it all away. If you want more happy than your heart will hold, if you want to stand taller if the truth were told, take whatever you have and give it away. If you want less lonely and a lot more fun and deep satisfaction when the day is done, throw your heart wide open and give it away. If you want more happy than your heart will hold, if you want to stand taller if the truth were told, take whatever you have and give it away. If you want less lonely and a lot more fun and deep satisfaction when the day is done, throw your heart wide open and give it away. Give it away. You gotta give it away. Yeah. Give it away. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Give it away. You gotta give it away. Yeah. Give it away. If you want more happy than your heart will hold, if you want to stand taller if the truth were told, take whatever you have and give it away. If you want less lonely and a lot more fun and deep satisfaction when the day is done, throw your heart wide open and give it away. Give it away. Want more happy than your heart will hold, if you want to stand taller if the truth were told, take whatever you have and give it away. Give it away.
Thunderstorm, so hopefully your power didn't go out. It didn't go out in this room. So thank you again for your gifts, your tithes, your offerings to this wonderful place that is our spiritual home, Unity Church of the Hills. Just know that we will do our best to stretch those dollars as far as we can, but it keeps us open, and that's a good thing. So just a reminder, at 1 o'clock today, that Gratitude Circle is starting. Our prayer chaplains will be there with you, and we're excited about that. We're going to do some going deeper here in a few moments, but let us close with our prayer for protection. Let's read it together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Love you. See you next week, or see you in a few minutes. Take care. Many blessings.
We are so grateful for all of you joining us. So, Raz, thank you for your wonderful message.
You're welcome.
I'm feeling a lot more grateful than when I started my day today. So, what do I do, though, when I'm having trouble feeling grateful, especially with all that's going on in the world right now? Any ideas on how to find gratitude or joy when it's difficult? I know you talked a lot about that in your message, but maybe
Sure.
a few more ideas.
You know, I think what's great about a daily practice of gratitude is you don't get out of it even when things are going really good.
Right.
Everybody can practice what we teach when life is going good. I mean, just applaud yourself for that. But this stuff is really great when life isn't going so good.
Yeah.
And we have a tendency to forget. I'm right there with everybody else. So, I mean, 2 weeks ago, me and another driver kind of met in the middle of a Target parking lot. We were both backing up opposite directions, so it was a little fender bender. But, I just got out of my car, noticed that she was okay. Our cars were a little hurt. But, we were both okay, and I was grateful for that. Nothing else came of it. My car's already fixed. They got it done real fast, all that kind of stuff. But I think, I picked up my Life is Joy book and read chapter 7 because it's so directly related to the talk today. And I think Roger talks about a lot of things that we just need to remind ourselves.
Right, yeah.
That's the number one thing, is remind ourselves that this too shall pass. It doesn't feel like it. And I know we're all kind of sharing in the latest trauma, because COVID-19, social unrest, that's really impacting everybody. Usually it's just me, my life or something, but it's everybody. But I think the same rules apply. And the other one I would say is this. Reach out to those people that know you, that know you best, and have them remind you who you are. Because we have a tendency when we're in those funky moments to forget who we are.
Yeah.
So, having somebody, for you it could be your wife, but it could also be a friend. And have somebody tell you who you are.
I love that.
Because we are so much more than our current circumstance. And, I think I'll be here long enough to be able to share all my circumstances with you. But I've had a lot. And some people say, how did you get through all that? Well, it's just this way.
Yeah.
I've already shared one day at a time was too long, so I have chosen one thought at a time. But I have people that can remember me when I can't remember for myself.
Right.
One of the things I used to, I've talked about this a lot. So one of the things I used to tell my practitioners in training at Mile High is you are being trained to remember for people until they can remember for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that at 1 o'clock today, these prayer chaplains are going to do the same thing.
I was just going to mention our prayer chaplains.
So
Thank
reach
you.
out, Albert Schweitzer said this. I love these times because I can throw in quotes
I love
that
quotes, so
don't
it's
fit in my
perfect.
talk or I'd be way too long. But Albert Schweitzer said, when our own light goes out, it is often rekindled by a spark from another person.
Oh,
So remember to
yeah.
reach out, and especially people that know you.
Yeah.
Because there are people that know you better than not.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Beautiful. Okay, so we've got another question here, and I've wore the wrong glasses. I've heard the idea that feeling the gratitude is important, especially when you're going through something difficult. It's so hard to feel it when times are tough or scary. I know authenticity is important, so is fake it till you make it a good choice? That's a great question.
It is a great question. And, my friend Rhonda, when she first started, it wasn't so much about faking it as what can I be grateful for? It was a search and rescue mission.
Right.
Because trust me, bending over and being able to tie your tennis shoes or whatever,
Right.
when my femur was broke and I was in a wheelchair, that was a huge thing.
Yeah.
I could not tie my own shoes. So my gratitude was for my wife, for my son, who could tie my shoes for me until I could tie them for myself.
Right.
So I wouldn't say it's so much about faking it, is what can I really be grateful for? Waking up, being relatively healthy or healthy enough to wake up, realizing there were points during my cancer recovery where I wasn't sure if I was going to wake up the next day. So it slows it down. Sometimes the challenges or circumstances in our life slow it down. And it's amazing what you start being grateful for. I have a view out of my bedroom window. I can be grateful for that. I can be grateful for the rain. or the fact that my power didn't go out, or, whatever. But yeah, I mean, you can do that. I think the words I use is act as if sometimes can help.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that I'm faking it. It's there's a power greater than I am that I know knows the truth about me. So if I trust and say something that I think that power can know for me when I can't know it for myself, can also have the same effect.
Yeah, right.
I think that's prayers.
That's really beautiful. Thank
And by
you.
the way, if you haven't figured this out already, we are always praying.
Yeah.
So if you think you got to do it a certain way or a certain time of day, I believe every thought is a prayer.
Yeah.
And if our thoughts are filled with gratitude, it's one of the most powerful prayers we can do.
Yeah,
so
right.
There's,
thank you.
there's no time when we're not creating. Principle number 3, unity, read your books.
Right. All right, so Lisa has a really great question here. What is the link between last week's message on forgiveness and this week's message on joy? Great question, Lisa. Thank you.
Well, the link is, I think, when we're going through the process of forgiveness, gratitude is the natural next step. If you were listening to the Going Deeper last week, I went ahead and said what next week's talk was going to be. And all of these are components to, I think, the healing process. Right. I don't have a hit on next week yet, so if you're waiting for that, I'm not sure. But, excuse me. But gratitude, or forgiveness and gratitude, go hand in hand. And it's not just for other people, it's for ourselves too. Yeah. Being grateful for myself. I love the thunder is accentuating my comments today.
It's timed perfectly.
But being grateful for myself is just as important as forgiving myself. So yes, there are links. These two are probably two of the most powerful healing practices. So, maybe a forgiveness journal. I didn't mention that last week.
That's a great idea.
But maybe a forgiveness journal and a gratitude journal, because if you don't think you have anything to forgive, just drive home or go to the grocery store. There'll be plenty of things.
Right.
You can think them up. I'll forgive that person, for cutting in line of the 15 items or less. They have 20 items. I can see it. I've counted them. Forgive yourself for that and move on.
I like the idea of really marrying them together.
Yeah, they really
it's
are.
like,
in the inner child journey, and I've been leaning into that, so that hopefully September or October we can bring that out of the creation mode into the presentation mode. But yeah, those two are absolutely in that work.
fabulous. All right, so for those of you who just joined us, because it looks like we have a few, if you have a question for Dr. Raz about his message on gratitude, or really anything to stump the minister, go ahead and type those in. It looks like a lot of you are getting thunder, and we've got a downpour right now, so I'm grateful that we still have internet. So what other thoughts do you have about gratitude while we wait for a question to come through?
Sure. I think, I had written down a few that Rhonda had shared with me, and if you have never picked up her book, I'm not trying to sell her book, but
No,
if you're
that's
struggling with really difficult things to forgive or to be grateful for, her book, Fearless Living, is phenomenal. But in it, she talks about finding people that know you, and I forget what she calls it. I didn't bring my book with me, but that group of friends that support you and nurture you, and you all know who they are in your crowd,
Right.
leaning into them is so key. Not the people that question every great idea you have and say, well, that's never going to work. Those aren't the people
No.
you want in your group.
Don't have them in your group.
Yeah, don't have them in your group. But, she talks about, the food that I was able to eat today, shelter, clothes, friends, breathing, the bones that support you. Trust me, I had no idea how important a femur was. isn't that the way life is? Until you
Right.
lose something, you don't understand. And of course, Louise Hay is so good about the studies that she has done about different physical ailments and how they, a break here or there, what that means. And so I did look it up, and I think the femur or the bone structure is all about support. Do you have enough
Right.
support in your life? One of the other circumstances, stories, whatever, it may come out in a different talk, who knows, but I've also broken my back.
Oh, wow.
And I always found that one interesting because it's support. But my kids were funny at that time because I wore a back brace. I actually was only out of work 2 weeks,
Oh,
believe it or
wow.
not. And I just wore a back brace, but it was Christmas time, so I decorated it with a cross made actually it was a Christmas tree of Christmas lights. My
my
kids
gosh.
loved it.
Instead of an ugly Christmas sweater, you had an ugly Christmas
I did. I had,
back brace.
and they blinked, It was
No, they did
battery-operated Christmas lights.
Oh.
So, I've always believed in having the courage to, first of all, be authentic, be who you are wherever you go. I've prided myself in that as a minister, but also be authentic with the people around you.
Yeah.
And forgive yourself when you're not. That's the bottom line. But be grateful for who you are. I think gratitude starts to build up your self-esteem to the point where, I can be grateful for who I am because we're amazing people. We really are. No one has gone through the path of spiritual development that you have.
Right.
So appreciate that. That's something to write down, actually. On your gratitude page today, I have become aware of, who I am is the result of all of my path experiences. So.
Beautiful. All right, one more question here. How can you practice gratitude when you're going through grief or anger?
Yeah, that's the right time to do it when we're going through grief and anger. Those are two of the biggest challenges we get in life. So I remember when my father made his transition, part of my process was, through grieving, was truthfully appreciating who he was.
Yeah.
I didn't always agree with him. I remember being PO'd at him for a few things. One is he never would tell me he loved me. And the other was, his father didn't either. But he also didn't, know how to hug. So it pissed me off that I had to teach him if that's what I wanted.
Right.
And but I remember my facilitator telling me that, Raz, I never heard that your father didn't love you. You just didn't like the way he showed you. And I went, duh.
Right.
And I got it. So during grieving, what I noticed is to appreciate who I'm grieving over or with or for. And, just be grateful for the 96 years. Well, I didn't have him for 96 years, but for his life and all that he learned and the people that he touched, that sort of thing. Yeah. What was the other part of that?
Anger.
Anger. Oh, yeah, anger is a great one. What's interesting about anger, that's what we get to see. Anger, if you think of an iceberg, anger is at the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Usually if you go under the layers, what you'll get to is where the hurt is.
Right.
Most people who have a lot of anger actually have a lot of hurt. And it could be from betrayal.
Right.
It could be all sorts of things. But, road rage, I'm not saying that's what this person was asking, but road rage is way up here on the tip of the iceberg.
Right, yeah.
There is so much more. It's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. It could have been something that happened at work, whatever. And, so anger is probably a process of revelation. What am I, what's the root of my anger? Is there something I'm hurt by? Was I betrayed? Was there a betrayal? Did I betray myself? There's so much richness there. That's a journaling exercise to be able to know what's at the root of my anger. And you could stop yourself from doing that work by just saying, well, it's all their fault.
Right.
Well, maybe. That's certainly possible, but why did it impact me so deeply?
Yeah.
There's something, anger is a richness. There's a richness to anger. I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's another part of the inner child journey. And then I got to figure out how to do it on Zoom. Because usually when we get to that part of the inner child journey, that's when people want to check out.
Yeah, right.
Because,
it's a tough emotion to be with.
Discovering that I might have any part in this at all is not what we want. Or if I let go of this anger, who am I?
Right. Who would you be without it?
If I let this person off the hook, which you never do, they're always culpable for whatever they did. But we get to decide if we're going to let it keep us hostage.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Okay, so we're going to ask one more question only because I want to make sure you guys can get to the gratitude circle on Zoom. So be thinking about what you want to share as a gratitude on the gratitude circle via Zoom. But this question is so good, I don't want to not cover it, Raz. So what are some ways to recover your joy in life if you feel like you are just going through the motions? I think that's a great question, so we'll end there.
I am awesome at play.
Yeah, I know you are.
And joy. Yeah. Excuse me. And I think, I was born with it, but it went away for a while because of the challenges in my life. So it's practice. It's scheduling the time for joy. Yeah. Scheduling the time for play. I've already scheduled my walk for tomorrow before it gets too hot.
Right.
Because I've already set this up in my own mind that I'm going to see beautiful environment, a beautiful forest, trees, and take notice. I don't think it's something that happens immediately. I think it takes practice.
I agree.
And of course, play. I haven't figured out how to do this yet either in the inner child journey.
Sounds like
but
a good
it's a
talk,
4-letter word. And a lot of people have resistance to it because they won't do it until the work is done.
Right.
So we're so busy, but what I can tell you is this. You got to schedule it in.
Yeah.
Don't leave it to chance. Make a play date, whether it's with your partner, spouse, friend. And I tell you, the ones that really work well for us now, they are already looking forward to us taking them to Disney. But whenever we can schedule play dates with our grandkids, Addie right now, she just, Tina creates scavenger hunts for our grandkids.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that was the first time Addie said, Grammy, you make me so happy. And it just, you should see Tina. She just melts.
I'm sure she does.
When she hears that.
How do you not? Yeah.
But, do that. Maybe baking is a thing that always brought you back to your childhood. There's a lot of things we can't do right now. Otherwise, I give you this list. Roller skating, bowling. You don't have to go to Disney. That helps a lot. But even people that go to Disney around 2 o'clock, I've watched it. They're exhausted. They're with their kids. They're trying to get their money's worth. Everybody is on edge. And trust me, they are not enjoying it at that moment because they didn't sit down, enjoy where they are, or go back to their hotel and take a nap.
And then come back and get at it again.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we started doing. We just take a break.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to an acronym on play. So be thinking about that. And maybe that's a future talk. Who knows?
We'll
All
see
right.
what's next.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, so you guys, 10 minutes and then jump back on Zoom. The link, I believe, is in our Facebook comments. You can also find it on our website and on Facebook, other places. We're just so grateful for all of you. Any closing comments?
No, have a great Sunday. We've had beautiful rain this morning, and it's going to set us up for a delightful afternoon. Have a great day. We'll see you next Sunday. Many blessings.